My guest today is a wonderful event speaker, a self-confessed SEO, PPC, and social media geek. He's also head of organic acquisition at uSwitch. Welcome, Lukasz Zelezny.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for the invitation.
Well, yeah, thanks for coming along, Lukasz. So, Lukasz, I was looking up your LinkedIn profile earlier on today, and you seem to use about 10 different job titles. So what I was wondering, first of all, is what do you think your job title is going to be in the year 2020?
Well, that's a good question. Everything is so dynamic. 10 years ago, you wouldn't recognize something like head of organic acquisition. Still, some people are asking me if this is something relevant to organic milk. Actually, no. But this term organic is a big thing right now. 2020, I feel the SEO and the online marketing will not change that much. Some people are saying that content marketing is the only marketing that left. I think that was Seth Godin that said this. Obviously, I kind of follow this opinion, and I'm saying like, yeah, online organic marketing will be kind of similar. It's all about make something even better and better and even more engaging. And me probably, me and you, we know for so long that, I'm a big ambassador of social media in the service of SEO. So social media and SEO will be kind of closer together, working for the same team. So let me give you an example. If your content is performing well in social media, then probably your SEO will go also up. My title, I've never been that much focused on the title. I'm never that much, about, in US you have this vice president. It sounds very, very nice, very sophisticated. But I personally, I can stay in 2020 for head of organic acquisition of uSwitch, and I still will be very happy.
So social is very important to you. Do you think social will be an essential part of SEO in the future?
Yeah, I think there will be more integration because social is very, very organic. We're not talking right now about, advertising, yeah. But every time I'm speaking on a conference, no matter it's England, Poland, Indonesia, or Hong Kong or whatever, I'm always trying to present this organic side of social media, how to engage people with your content, with your message, and so on, rather than saying like, here you can put money and here is an outcome. Lots of people understand that there is this side of paid social media. My side is very much focused on organic. And you can see even like organic social media, organic search, they are kind of playing in the same team. So I think there will be more integration in terms of like people will be thinking like if something is performing in social media, it must also perform very well in a search. What makes me worry a little, it is that Facebook is getting so strong that we can see internet in internet. It's internet inside internet. There were some countries that were trying to give internet for free to very poor people, and I was reading, I don't know if this is a gossip or not, but Facebook was like, so maybe the Facebook would be there as this super basic level of internet access, but the governments were like, no. Now we will be keeping these people in the bubble. So some people can spend whole day on Facebook, and they can find news, they can find video, they can find fun, friends, and so on. It's a little scary, but again, there is lots of proofs that online marketing through Facebook, either paid or organic, is working. What I also want to mention, it is that Internet of Things is a big thing. You have already this tools like If This Then That, right now called If, or Zapier. I have this band on my hand, which is measuring number of steps I'm doing every day. And you can see that every day there is a message on Twitter and on Facebook how many steps I did. I'm trying to motivate other people. I'm also mentioning the producer, which is actually Withings, and this is just a basic example how the real physical thing is integrated with your social media channel. So I think it will go even deeper. And I'm not that much visionary. But even maybe your fridge or your washing machine or your kitchen mixer will be kind of connected to social media. I hope, because I really like this. I'm an ambassador of this.
So do you think that the Internet of Things may make searching online less important in the future?
I think I lost you.
Okay. Do you think that the Internet of Things may make searching online less important in the future?
Well, it doesn't look like, because searching is something which we've been doing even pre-internet era. Okay, back in the day, I'm right now reading a biography of not Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and there is this chapter which is telling like Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak were looking for this description to build the Blue Box, which was the first device before Apple One. And this is like written so well. Like when they went to the library, when there were so many books, and Steve Wozniak was like, that must be somewhere here. And they spent their whole weekend, and finally they found this, and you can read this, and you can feel this excitation. Like, yes, I told you, it was there. This is this kind of thing we were looking for. So, it's somewhere deep down in our DNA, and I think that's why search engine on the beginning of internet been so successful. I'm right now struggling with Facebook and with the time scale, that there is no typical search, like you can use YouTube or you can use Google. I'm really missing this, because this is how I used to work with online and environment and online ecosystem, and I think it won't be under threat, and it will stay kind of the same. Lots of people were saying like, oh, SEO is dead because people will start using voice recognition to search for things. It didn't really click. I don't see people in the bus talking to their smartphones and asking, hey, what will be the weather tomorrow in London? Everybody knows that it will be rainy, but obviously, like, people are not doing this because they like this privacy, typing on the smartphone, typing on the iPad, and so on and so on. So I don't think the major principle of search will change. It may change the way how we communicating with computer. It may change dramatically the algorithm, what is considered to be the ranking factors, and so on and so on and so on. But this is a little like we're touching very much ground of internet. It's like you would ask me if the concept of links will change, like clicking on some text and moving yourself to another document. It was for 30 years like that, and I think another 30 years it will be kind of like that.
It's interesting that you talking about the. I'm hearing myself a little bit as an echo.
Did you?
Okay, I'll try again. Okay, I think I'm okay now. I'll try and do a little bit of editing. If not, it's a bonus addition to the video. Okay. Yeah. It's interesting.
It's not stage. It's not stage. It's absolutely live.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, when you were saying about the closing of the internet potentially with people using Facebook, or another example is maybe even actually the app system on iPhones or other phones out there. It reminds me of AOL back 16, 17 years ago. And maybe they tried it back then and it didn't seem to work really because people wanted more of an open internet. Do you think the result might be different this time and it will work and it actually might happen for real this time?
17 years old, 17 years ago, it was internet of geeks. Everyone wanted at least to know HTML. Everyone wanted at least to see how IRC bots are working. It was still this kind of time when you was buying some newspaper or magazine, and there was a listing of the codes and learning about how to write the code in PHP. Right now, when you go into the any newsagent shop, and you will find some newspapers or some magazines, it's more about, oh, this is 100 application you should install on your iPhone. It's very much user consumption way focused. I think there is a risk it will click this day, because lots of people, instead of opening a website and building this from scratch on WordPress, Joomla, or whatever, on Ruby, they prefer to open a fan page, and they become kind of closed in the bubble called Facebook. I have nothing against Facebook. I really like Facebook, I have all my friends there, photos of cats and foods, and I love it. But it kind of makes me feel scared that people are not curious to, okay, let's start forum and so on and so on. And you can see that the forums and all this concept is going down. Like IRC died probably 10 years ago because there was no way to monetize this. Right now the same concept is going with forums. People less likely, artists, musicians, they have some website there updated once a month and the newsletter. But Facebook, Twitter, that's their main platforms. So maybe there will be some moment that it will be a pivot. Maybe the generation of the people who are right now 10 years or 5 years old, when they will become 20, they will be like, Facebook, Twitter, how people found this exciting back in the day. Maybe it will disappear like this cinema that you had without the sound. Yeah. But this generation that you have right now, people of my age, your age, 20 years old, they are kind of closing themselves in this bubble called social media. And that's kind of me as an ambassador of social media find this a little scary, because I'm always thinking about social media as about element of a strategy. SEO is here, UX is here, social media is here, and so on and so on. And we're playing all the football match as different players. When some people are out there and thinking like, I just need Facebook to do all the marketing and to do marketing of my company. Difficult to say what will be in 2020, but I'm definitely very close to look on this and how it works.
So you mentioned Twitter briefly there as well. In the last year or so, Google started integrating Twitter more closely into its search results, obviously because of the relationship that they've now got with them. What do you think might be the future of networks like Twitter and perhaps Google Plus over the next few years?
So you see, that integration is fantastic, because back in the day, 100 years ago, an information was going to you through days. Then when the internet came, it was taking a couple of days before the indexation happened, before you could find this. After this, when Google started to do Google News, it was kind of a couple of hours before something happened and news were there. Right now, you have Twitter, you have almost instant access to information. Whenever you will hear something, earthquake happens somewhere, the first thing you're going to see what's going on there on Twitter, and you're looking for photos of normal random people, not a journalist, just people who've been there, and they've been posting this online, and other people can read, can ask if everyone is fine, and so on and so on and so on. So I think, first of all, this integration was fantastic. Right now we are even the time delay, the time gap between something happened and here our news is shorter. I feel it will go even deeper. So there will be probably a media that we are not aware yet of that will be possibly even quicker. Maybe that will be a kind of worldwide CCTV system, no matter how scary it looks like. But I kind of like go on my iPhone and open application world cameras and see how Oslo look at night. And you have like 3-4 cameras in Oslo, and you can see like, oh, nice, people are living there, so how nice it is. But you can have this kind of system across the whole planet, and you can switching between cameras and just observe how people. I know that it may for some people sounds like a Big Brother concept. I don't feel like this is Big Brother concept. That's the kind of a sign of the time that people want to be up to date with everything. They want to know what's going on, and so on and so on. So this integration is just the beginning. Twitter and Google is just the beginning. Possibly there will be more things like that, giving access to information straight away to everybody who wants this access.
I haven't heard you mention Snapchat there. Are you on Snapchat at the moment?
When you're mentioning Snapchat, I feel so old, on the Polish website, I found an article like, this is the article to explain Snapchat to people who are 30 years plus. You understand? I have this kind of strict rule. I'm trying to be active on 3 platforms, which is Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Everything else is like kind of, okay, I have there, sometimes I will upload, but this is not like so Snapchat would kind of clutter this activity I have right now. And again, I'm I'm early adopter, but sometimes I'm late adopter. I know that if that will click in my head, I will get there and I will start be very active. But at the moment, Snapchat is kind of where is Google Plus, and you probably heard this before from me. I am not on the Google Plus that much, and I'm not on Snapchat at all. But I heard that right now Snapchat is valued for $14 billion, despite from the fact they are not generating any profit. Very interesting time we are living, David, because well, this is how it can go. I know that it's very popular. I know that people love it. I need a little more time, you know.
So what about SEO tactics? What tactics work effectively now in 2016, but are unlikely to work effectively in 4 years' time?
I feel like backlinks, that will be kind of old school. There was too many games, and people seems to be less focused on backlinks. They I wouldn't say they gave up, but they found other ways to leverage the visibility. That's one thing. The second thing, you have major two types of content. This content, which is, like I mentioned, up to date, yeah, which will be appearing in Google News, Twitter, and so on and so on. And you will be trying to make this available on Twitter, available on Google News, and so on for next 24, 48 hours. And that's one strategy, that's one concept. The other concept is what we call evergreen content. It is like, how can I save money on my bills? And, the content is there talking and trying to teach you how to save money on your bills, and that will be accurate today, tomorrow, next year, and probably 3 years later. And there is different strategy, probably trying to make sure that this content in the long term is circulating properly, and possibly that other people are maybe not linking but mentioning your content. Maybe the duplication will be not as important. Maybe the fact that someone copied a couple of lines of your text and put this on your website, Google will be, or other search engine will be recognizing this, like, okay, they are quoting him, and that will be much more valuable than just linking, because we all know that linking is very much like kind of a game. It's very easy to game this, or it was easy to game this system before. But again, like the concept of positions in a SERPs, and the clicking on links and so on will be similar. One more thing to say, you can see that Google is trying to keep users more time or longer on their ecosystem. All these AMPs pages that they integrated with the biggest publisher like Guardian, Telegraph, Daily Mail, and so on. It is kind of to keep people on their ecosystem, because when you click on the link, you're technically not leaving Google. Okay, when you're going to Google Map and there is some term and there is link to Wikipedia, you click, there is this modal pop-up which is showing you page from Wikipedia, but you're technically not moving to Wikipedia. Okay, so answer boxes, aka featured results, this little kind of frame you can see above the normal organic results, but below the paid results. Especially when you're asking about some questions which are like queries which are questions, let's say who was the first person in the space, and you will probably get this in this frame, that was Yuri Gagarin that year, and so on. Again, you have an answer. You not necessarily need to click and move to Google outside. So Google will be fighting for more time and more page views around their own ecosystem, rather than delivering traffic to websites outside. And I'm talking right now about organic, because paid obviously is all about delivering traffic there, but we're paying for this.
And when you talk about search engines there, you don't mention any other one apart from Google. Is there a chance that in a few years' time you might be mentioning another search engine?
Yeah, there is, because I would be very naive telling you like now there will be no other search engine, because that was like someone in 19th century said that there will be no more invention, because everything what we could invent that was invented already. I had the argument with one person a long time ago, and she was saying that there will be no more music generates except of what was invented, but she didn't know about trap, about dubstep, and so on and so on. So yes, there is a potential chance that there will be something new, something different, something that will beat the concept of search engine. But I'm kind of so much classic person that it's very difficult for me to imagine the new concept of searching. We are so much in, like I said, like, search engine won't change, because my classic nature of a person who is online since 1996 doesn't give me a much space to think that there will be something better than that. But again, this 5% of my brain is saying, like, Lucas, don't be naive, leave the gap, because someone may come and say, like, I didn't know that there was no that it was impossible, and he will just do this, and he will open a new door of the conceptual new concept of searching, and new concept of asking for queries. Maybe there will be not even keywords. Maybe there will be something totally different. I will tell you something. This is a little off topic. We were talking recently, and there was this concept, like creating a dating website that is matching people based on what they type in Google. How you like this? So people who are asking about similar topics, they probably thinking similar way. So if you are very geeky, or if you are focused on history, or if you are focused on geography, based on your queries you're typing in Google last year, they will show you, let's say, 5 potential candidates. I like this idea.
And was it quite effective? Do you know if it's delivered good results?
I don't know. It never become a real thing. There was just
Right.
We had a conversation at Friday in a pub. So concept for a startup.
Why not? I can imagine something like that being very interesting. You can maybe tie it to an app as well.
Yeah,
Lucas,
exactly.
I'm sure we could keep on talking forever. As usual, you've offered some, lovely
Yeah.
thoughts, but as you say yourself, you're a classic person and you've offered a lot of classic information. So I appreciate that. Let's conclude with just one more question. And that is, what do businesses need to be doing now that will still likely be a valid strategy in the year 2020?
Yeah. So, I think I don't want to call especially these people SEO, because SEO sometimes doesn't sound that good. But if you have a VC backup for a couple of £1 million and you're starting a new business, just please hire someone who understands how search engines are crawling your website and why you need to implement. And again, I'm doing this intentionally. Open Graph and T-cards, so Twitter and Facebook properly picking up information from your website, rather than you doing your basic level of product, which is not optimized, and then you will get back to this after a year, instead of saving so much money and so much time on this relatively simple thing. Because one person can give little information to developers and say, like, guys, you know what, this is great, but actually this redirection should be 301, not 302. These basic things that developers not necessarily need to know. Developers are for something else. I will be always trying to convince people who starting business, like, look, you may not understand this. You may not think that this is important. You may not think that SEO is something that in the future will give you a massive profit, but give yourself a chance and hire someone who've been like you, me, or other guests you invited for many years in this industry, and let us do the job, because you will see that on some day that will pay off.
Absolutely. Make sure the SEO is involved before the site designer, but probably even at an earlier stage than that. Make sure they're involved at the business strategy level to actually help them
Exactly.
tie the concept together.
Exactly. Absolutely. I totally agree what you said. This is still there is like lots of companies that absolutely extremely think this is extremely important, but there is also lots of companies that are not thinking that this is important, and they finally, when they went from here to here, they're like, okay, now we should hire someone who knows SEO, and you need to take 3 steps back to push them even higher. You want That's why I'm saying, because I know that there will be lots of people listening to us, and yeah, trust me, you will love to see so much organic traffic and extremely high return of investment. I hope that will convince everybody.
It was wonderful having you on, Lucas. Where can people get hold of you?
Thank you for asking. As always, LinkedIn, holy grail of social media. Like my friend is saying, you would copy yourself on LinkedIn. Twitter, I have Lukasz Zelezny and Lukasz Zelezny PL. One is for English, one is for Polish. And Facebook, if you really want to see me going to some restaurant or something like this everyday photo stuff. So mainly LinkedIn, Twitter, and my Facebook. Just type Lukasz, Lukaszzelezny, Zelezny, and you probably find me. And I'm more than happy to always have a chat.
Superb stuff. Thanks again.
Thank you very much for your invitation, David. It was a pleasure, and I wish you first of all the best, and warm greetings for everybody who listens us and to other guests.